Hi mate, here's a new machine. So 6MCR with a tilt hitch, thumb, buckets. So I'll just show you the buckets. 600, 350, 450, skid bucket, has the bolt-on edge on. Pallet forks, and then over here we have the 1200. We're just waiting on the ripper to arrive and a few other things. Here's the tilt hitch, so detachable, has a cylinder at the bottom and the top. Detaching this, so you can't use the forks or the skid bucket on the tilt hitch, so they're designed only for the excavator buckets. We have this package like this just for transport, so save some freight. So make sure that the tilt hitch is only used for the excavator buckets. It will void the warranty if you damage it from using the skid bucket. So you drop the tilt hitch off and then you pick the skid bucket up, or the forks, directly with the top hitch. So we inboard the hoses now to get them out of the way so they're not sticking out here all the time. So when you haven't got the forks on and you have the boom further out, it's really easy to get access in here while the machine's turned off to just disconnect the 4 hoses, and then you just feed them out through this gap here, and then you disconnect. Then you can, in the cab, press the hitch switch to drop the tilt hitch. While we're on this side, this line here is a case drain line, so if you ever use a mulcher, that's the line that goes straight back to tank. This is the hose that feeds the second circuit. This is your auxiliary for your hammers, etc., auger drive. When you use the thumb, it runs off the main auxiliary circuit, so it's just teed in. So if you put the thumb all the way up and then you shut these valves where they are now, the auxiliary circuit will feed whatever attachment. If you want to use the thumb, you open the taps on both sides and then the auxiliary circuit will feed the thumb. You don't use auxiliary circuits when you have the thumb on anyway, but if you were going to operate it with this tap open, it would then activate the attachment and the thumb at the same time. You can plumb the thumb to the other circuit if you really want, but it's a bit slower, so most people are happy with the high speed of the thumb when it's on that circuit. So on this side, same deal, just have the auxiliary circuit and then the tap up there. So they're the 2 taps you have to turn to activate the thumb. Up here, when you don't have the forks on, it's a lot closer to the ground, but this is the switch to switch between top and bottom on the hitches. So at the moment you can see it's towards the B, so all the way down. That means when you hit the hitch switch inside the cab, only the bottom switch works, so not the top one. So you can't accidentally drop the whole lot off while the hoses are still connected. You only activate the bottom. Once you disconnect the hoses in here, come up here and put this towards top. That means only the top hitch will work. Now you can safely disconnect the tilt hitch. Both hitches get positive pressure, it just affects which hitch can unlock. Up here you have your SWL sticker, and then that's your offsetting cylinder. The length of the thumb, it can't be any longer. It's as long as it can be, being so tight and close to the machine. It works really well with the bucket straight on the dipper stick, but not so good with the length of that tilt hitch. So some customers have added extensions for when you have the tilt hitch in the buckets, but you can't come so far back to the machine. So I think it's optimal to use the thumb with the buckets without the tilt hitch. You don't really need a tilting function when you're using the thumb in a bucket anyway. So coming around the machine, in here you just got washer bottle and you've got the air filter, and then you got your additional counterweight on. In here we got the diesel tank inlet, coolant, oil filter, oil dipstick, oil in, your 2 fuel filters. Come around to this side, control valve, hydraulic fan for cooling, pumps, batteries under here, and there's the isolator. So if you need to get to the battery, it's just for M8, so 13mm spanners to get that cover off to get to it. That cover has to go back on because it stops the battery overheating from the air coming out. So I'll come around into the cab now. So in the cab, first thing you'll see is the big screen. So turn the key on and that will load. So we have the operation, so that's locked out, that's digging mode, that's skid steer mode. Start stop button here, aircon control. On here we have the dial for the screen, so this allows you to turn around and activate items. Reverse camera, so you click that and the reverse camera comes on and off on the screen. Then we have auto idle and a few other functions. This function here is a continuous flow switch, so when you press it, the auxiliary will flow continuously. And then travel alarm on and off, etc. Blade lever, there's the UHF. The radio has the microphone and for your phone connection. You have a cigarette lighter point and a cup holder here. Behind we just got some storage space there. On this side here, quick hitch, so that activates the quick hitch. Then we've got an alarm to turn off, so if you're lifting something without the quick hitch on, it'll be alarming because there's nothing attached to the machine, but you're using the lifting hook. So hold this down for 3 seconds and it'll turn the alarm off. This switch inverses the bucket direction. So if you're in excavator mode, when you bring the joystick inwards, it curls in, but as a skid steer, it goes out. So this lets you just switch between the two. This is an automatic mode, so right now it's in manual mode. That means that the third boom, so this cylinder, is operated off this foot pedal. We normally leave it in automatic mode, so that's called coupling mode or automatic mode. It means that the middle cylinder and the dipper stick cylinder up the top there, they're controlled both on the left joystick, and then the right joystick does the boom. If you hold down this button while you're in automatic mode, it will then mean that this joystick will only do the middle cylinder and this joystick will only do the dipper stick. So it allows you to adjust all three of them independently without having to leave automatic mode. For turning it on, for your main auxiliary, this is your switch, and that also works for your thumb when you've got those taps open. On this side, this is your second auxiliary or your offset. So you press the button here to switch between the two. So you can see that little green dot. When it's on, it's offset. When it's off, the auxiliaries are working. So that's used for the tilt hitch. You can adjust the speed of the tilt hitch and the main auxiliary circuit by coming in. You press this button and you turn the knob around to come here. You get enter. So number one, we enter. So we pull the lever backwards. Then we can adjust flow. This is the main auxiliary circuit. Then we come across over here and we're on the left joystick now. You can see the arrow there. So each direction we can change that percentage. So on the tilt hitch, normally you'll want it at about 50% to slow it down, otherwise it just tilts a little bit too fast. You can also pull down and switch that to change the direction that the switch works. You can do that on both joysticks. So you go up, go across this joystick, so 90. If you want to come down, we can change the direction. You can also go up and you can rename the attachment, and then we push down on this button to save. That's number one. You can do different settings for up to 6 different attachments or operators. Well, I hope that helps. If you got any more questions, let us know. Thanks, mate.